So let's say my wheel is running at 3,000 RPM. And let's say this guy is going at, well, let's say it's a 2-inch wheel. And let's say it took 30 seconds to dress those 2 inches. Okay? So our V sub traverse, let's start with our lead. Our lead is V sub traverse. Velocity is distance divided by time. So we went 2 inches in 30 seconds. 30 seconds is half a minute. So we're going to go 0.5. And then we're going to divide that by that 3,000. So 2 divided by 0.5 is 4. 4 divided by 3,000, and we can get out our calculator. So that gives us 0.00133333 inches per rev. So what that means is every time that wheel makes 1 rev, he's moved over 0.001333, or a little bit over 1/1000th of an inch. Now let's say we've got a diamond, and this diamond started off and he looked like this. Let's say he's rotated at some 10 or 15 degree angle. But now that diamond has developed a flat. And let's say that little flat is 0.035 inches. Almost 40 thou, almost a millimeter. So now we can figure out our overlap, and our overlap is the width of that flat, 0.035, divided by 0.001333. And if we plug in those numbers, we get an overlap of 26, which means that a grit is going to hit the diamond 26 times. Now you may look at that and say, well, I don't know, 3,000 RPM, 30 seconds for a 2-inch wheel, my diamond width is what it is. You may say, oh, I don't know, seems pretty good to me. But then you crunch the numbers and you go, wow, an overlap of 26 is way too big. If I'm doing rough grinding or I want a sharp wheel, I want to have an overlap of 2, 3, 4, something like that. If I'm doing finish grinding, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. But what I don't want is an overlap of 26. So the overlap ratio is a good way to quantify how sharp your wheel is, how sharp you're dressing. I use it all the time. People take my grinding courses. This is one of the most important things we talk about. When I give my boot camps, this is something we spend a fair bit of time on because it's super important. Now it is tricky because how are we going to measure that guy? Take him out, stick it in a comparator. That can be a hassle, but half the battle is just realizing that as your diamond flat gets bigger and bigger and bigger, your dressing conditions are changing drastically. So if you were just fine on Monday, then all of a sudden you're burning on Friday, and you haven't changed anything in your process, check your diamond width. Your diamond width may have gone down from something small to something wide, and all of a sudden those grits are hitting that diamond many, many times, making the grits dull. So overlap ratio applies to single point dressing, clustered dressing, blade, CVD logs. It also applies to traverse roll discs. And it's the same concept. We just don't want to hit that grit too many times. It's going to make our wheel dull.